Beloved star, warmest welcome to Elven Pod. And I was just wondering, what number is it? I'm pretty sure it's 86. So this is the podcast created, channeled through from the Elven for our ascension and bringing through each week the guidance for the current ascension energies. So this week we have a really beautiful theme, and in my Elven Ascension membership, Elven Aurora, which is in the most magical phase, I can't recommend deeply enough joining. The transmissions are just beyond. This moon, this is the moon of Rose, and we are in the White Rose temples of Lemuria, temples within the earth that have not been visible until now. And that is their significance. And it's not that they're literally the temples of the White Rose in the sense of the White Rose lineage. They are, but the white rose denotes the level of reality at which they exist, which is this frequency of really primordial, pure, celestial, angelic activity and creation. These are vast arcs of activity, of action, of intention that belong to our angelic nature. And these solar sunstar records of Earth, of her ancient sunlight, have been stored, and specifically this layer, the Elven are sharing, is being revealed now. Now it's always there. It's not like, oh, now you're allowed to see. It's when we reach the level of design in our ascension, in the collective waves of our ascension, where that is the design and the resonance that we have reacquired, if you like. And we come into vibrational synchronization with it, and just like a bridge suddenly appears and we can cross over into that aspect, or it can cross over into us, if you like. And either way, there is a re-mergence, a reunification, which is very exciting to experience. And many of us have got this going on right now. Deep dimensional doorways to our greater power and light, our greater remembrance are opening, and it's exciting. It's a very exciting time, and with it too we can experience the crossover of old fourth dimensional timelines that we're running, where we're not as in contact with this vast, incredible activated remembrance, where there are these degrees of separation or resistance that we've generated to that greatest light. And those 4D timelines behaviors, they just can't carry that circuitry. And we can experience a bit of a contrast in ourselves, where you can see the part of you might get very heightened right now, where it feels like you're pushing or rushing, or where you're pushing and rushing because of prior resistance, because there's a lag in your behaviors and your activities, things that you would love to express, but your body until now has never felt safe to really flow with immediacy that it needs to put in. It puts in this resistance, and so you get these time lags in your reality, and things run slower or harder or more difficult. But you get quite conscious at this point that it's you who generates that, rather than it being something that's happening to you. And so we get this heightened contrast that can come up. And just to reassure, those 4D timelines we may be witnessing, they really are part of the dissolution and the release of the now. Those behaviors where we've been in resistance to our greatest activity in the light, to the grandest arc of our angelic destiny, to all that we are, to these greater spheres of remembrance and immediacy of knowing, that they are absolutely in these last phases of dissolving from our cores, our beings, our bodies, and our souls. So our body shall come to feel, this is what it's working on, this is what is happening within us, safe to synchronize with, and safe in the synchronization of this greatest angelic activity in the light. Really comfortable, so your body feeling, oh wow, it's comfortable to dream and to be in and to express this grandest destiny, this And even, let's put it another way, I can say grandest destiny because there is a magnificence to the truth of each one of us. We know it just belongs to something so much greater. But another way of expressing that same aspect is that which you really, really, really love. That which is most natural to you is your deepest inclination and preference, what you would always love to really be up to. And in this lifetime and in the last age of Earth, we've all experienced being in a field where we are, certainly from the beginning of this lifetime, most of us, if not all of us, will have experienced repetitive and sometimes strong, sometimes subtle entrainment and advice and guidance and coercion, even to not follow our natural expression, love, inclination, preference, all kinds of ways, all kinds of ways. And it's been a long journey. And for so many of us, we experienced it so many times. And the way we responded to that was often by changing our shape and becoming and expressing in ways that were not direct to that love that we are, to what we would really love to bring through ourselves, and what we would most naturally do and express as. And in our journey of ascension, part of the journey is releasing that, just releasing it over and over again. All of those deep, the moments where we were really impacted, like the impact point of that external influence that advises you to be or behave in ways that are actually external to your innate impulse. So as we release all of this, less and less do we internalize external patterns and behaviors and impulses that come from outside of us, and more we are expressive of our natural way. And we are becoming, and they're saying, we are closer to expressing our natural energy than we've been for an aeon, for an age. We're really coming back to this, coming back to being expressive of our natural energy. And in that natural expression is the truth of your grandest angelic destiny, of what your grandest angelic activity is in the light, and the full power, full firing of that in the embodied safety and power of the body itself. And we get to have an experience where our body no longer is feeling unsafe and resisting that, no longer creating micro diversions. And one of the things I love about the teaching this week is that what they say is even like half a degree of separation from your natural expression creates a complete dimensional shift. So it puts you in the fourth dimension. The minute you're creating by even half a degree in a way that is external to you, you're in the fourth dimension, and you create this kind of resistance or distancing from that direct stream of angelic manifestation and expression. So these half a degrees and micro degrees of release of those externalized directions and instructions and impulses are so important. And it's happening. It's happening in the now. And as they release, it creates a totality of dimensional shift. So part of this is, as we come back to this greatest angelic activity in the light, as we come back to these deep records of remembrance, this is what I am, this is what I do, this is what I create, we come back to another aspect of the invitation that is inherent in this dimensional shift, which is that you are allowed to actively dream, to actively imagine, to actively choose within this stream of your greatest angelic activity in the light what you'd love to create for the dawn, what you would most love to arise. And this is an immense invitation to a state that I'm calling, it's like the humming, the daydream, the reverie, the state of divine cosmic imagination, where you're imagining, what would I love to create for the dawn? And you can feel your humming in the songlines of your deepest power. You can feel your humming in transcendent architectures that belong to your soul star. This is the cosmic imagination of your crystalline Christ-light oversoul that is a window into your soul star, into the light of source that you are. And it's a different window, though, to being the channel who is channeling, just waiting for the guidance, waiting for the pure inspiration and guidance to drop through from beyond. It's a different energy. It's an energy of golden, imaginal humming, active humming. What would I love to create? What would I love to dream in these deepest realms of power of that which I am? And this is part of our full seventh dimensional and beyond star creator state. And we're very much at this phase of our body feeling safe in this, coming to feel safe in this state of active imagining. That we don't just have to wait. We don't just have to wait for the guidance, for the external instruction. You see, some of that setting in us and our frozenness into that mode is from the lower dimensional experience and continuum of being impacted by external will being applied upon us and us choosing to let it change our shape. And we were never designed to solely be in the mode of being that passive channel. It is an aspect, it is a window also to the purity of our soul star when it's functioning in its purity. We do have this aspect where it's like, yes, we receive the information, the knowing from beyond. But in truth, that silver light of receiving from beyond is meant to be in a dance with the golden light of our active cosmic imagination. We're meant to be playing with those source plasma light inspirations that come through that channel of the soul star, and then play with their radiance and move them around and feel, where would I love this to land? What would I love to express with this energy? And this is a facility that we're really invited in the heart of this year to remember and to entrust ourselves with and to practice and to play with. Because the next phase of our light work for the ascension is not about just waiting for the lightning bolt to strike and saying, suddenly now I'm off to Africa, I'm off to Australia, or I'm going to this, I'm guided to go to this place, meet this person. Yes, of course, those aspects may still express this way, but there's a vast wave characterizing this shift point in our ascension, which is that there'll be much vaster, gentler, building, humming cadences of active imagination that go into dreaming, what would I love to create for the ascension? What does my soul star dream? Because we carry the resonance in our bodies now to do it like this. Before we needed almost it just to be the lightning flash coming from outside of us because our bodies couldn't yet carry this frequency, so it's the only way they could experience the information. But now our bodies are coming to know themselves as vast light creating itself into form. And we need to release our attachment to the old way of being the passive channel waiting for the guidance to come. Things might get really sticky for us if we stay in that, because the information is just not always going to come that way. There's a whole nother aspect of us that needs to activate in this now. And in truth, it is activating, and it's a really beautiful invitation, a golden invitation to do this differently and to have a much more, so the other way, that silver way, kind of requires, radical trust and surrender and going into the unknown often. And and there can be more dramaticness in its 4D aspect too, and we're in the 4D aspect of, there's this that I'm meant to do, and it's got a more dramatic and sharper energy to it. But the energy of the golden light, and as we learn this golden ability within ourselves of the active imagining, requires different qualities: patience, this loving listening to our heart, listening to ourselves, listening to the earth, listening to the soul star, and patiently feeling, dreaming because it comes in waves as the energies build, as the plasma solar radiance is received, and then we start to play with the energy here. We place into heart and mind, what would the greatest angelic activity in me love to create? This is what we're feeling. This is what we're able to feel now. And I'm going to complete this pod with an example from my own practice and my own life. So back in 2016, when Silver Wheel was published, I suddenly started receiving these invitations from out of the blue to hold a retreat, say, in South Africa with the White Lions of Timbavati, the Pyrenees, all kinds of unfoldments that just happened. And I knew I was divinely guided just to say yes, yes, yes. None of them had been in my field until then. I had not actively dreamt any of this. I actually thought I was going to live in a little cottage somewhere, herbs and flowers and plants, and never really leave it. That was my conscious imagining. So this was not active within my being. And I knew that my role at that time was just say yes and allow these occurrences to take place. And then I relinquished that cycle and I really let it go. And what I find in the now is that I've always been aware, as I've dreamt over the last years, that there would be more ceremonies around the earth, elven ceremonies to come, unfoldments, but that it would come differently. And it is this time, it is this energy now. I can feel it synchronizing through that it requires my active imagination, of my active golden cosmic imagination, of my greatest angelic activity in the light for the age that is dawning. What would I love to express, to create in co-creation with the earth, all around the earth? What are the stargates, the dimensional structures and arising I would love to dream into being with her? And I actually downloaded a map of the earth, and had got out some moonstones that I used to use in ceremony and had them in a bowl. And I was just placing them upon this map and dreaming and feeling where I would love for them to be, where I would love for them to arise. So different to how I was years ago, where it was like the lightning strike. Even before the retreats and so forth, when I was guided to go to North America, and literally I was just shown boom, 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 ceremonies here, up this part of North America, and, very, very different energy. And it's because we've changed. It's because we're so much further and deeper into our ascension, into the mandalic realization of the fullness of our soul starlight. And we just need to consciously catch up to the measure of our power in the now, to actively dream and actively co-create with the earth, with the realms, in our greatest angelic activity in the light. So I'll complete this pod 86 here, but the last thing I'd love to say is that as we go through this phase and we go through this invitation to activate this, that we may feel a really great expansion happening within our heart, really great expansion happening in our heart, that we are just feeling and containing more light, more love than we've been able to do before, able to dwell in the deep lighted state of what we love and the power of who we are more than ever before. And that's the beautiful state just to gently invite your being to synchronize with, to let your body say to your body, let's just practice experiencing this and feeling safe all at the same time for suspended moments. And that is a beautiful practice for dovetailing with and bridging into this state of active divine imagination in the now. So much love, and I shall see you soon. Farewell for now.